DDG episode 175. My name is Dave Hunt, and I am not joined by Michael Swick.
Yay!
He's on vacation, and that little laugh you just heard is a friend of the show, Mr. Josh Langford.
Hi.
How's it going?
It's going well. How are you?
I'm really good, actually. So I appreciate you taking the time to fill in for Michael. It's the first one in 175 that he's actually missed.
Wow.
We've taken some weeks off, obviously, but it's the first one that he has. First time his voice will not be in a numbered episode. So.
He voluntarily quit the show, huh? I get it.
Yeah, don't start those. We're good. All right. I'm going to get a couple housekeeping things out of the way, and then we'll get into some nitty-gritty with Josh here. So we are Digital Days Gaming. We are a weekly podcast that posts every Thursday morning, 6 a.m. Eastern Time on podcast services. If for some reason you are listening to this and we're not on a service that you would like us to use, let us know. Email us at podcast@digitaldaysgaming.com, and we can see if we can be available on there. If it is a service that you use, please consider subscribing and reviewing so that it helps us move up in the algorithms. You can also watch us live on Twitch, twitch.tv/digitaldaysgaming, where we are right now, so you can see Josh's face and my face. And you can, join the chat sometimes and maybe ask some questions, particularly today if you're hanging out. And I know tagging Josh on this may bring a couple additional viewers or listeners in. So please consider sticking around for a little bit. Give us another chance. I'm sure, as Michael and I have found our groove after 175 episodes, maybe it's a little bit different than it was maybe when you listened to 100 episodes ago or so. We produce weekly consistent content. I think we're over 200 pieces of individual content on our podcast thread, so you can definitely check that out. And I think we'll be something like 4 years old in November, which seems like crazy to say, but
wow,
we're still growing, still trying to grow, still trying to evolve, still trying to just have a bunch of fun. So there are a bunch of other links in the show notes where you can hang out with us: Discord, Facebook group, Twitter. We'll get Josh's shout outs and stuff like that if you don't know him or any of that, but everything else should be linked in the show notes. And we're going to jump into it. So right off the bat, before we start getting a little bit of opinions back and forth, I'm going to give you I'm going to give Josh a quick introduction, and he'll fill in the gaps of things that I mess up, obviously. So Josh and I have known each other 7-8 years at least.
Yeah, I think it's longer than that. I don't know.
So,
but yeah,
we've known each other for a long time. We both worked for and wrote for psnation.com, and Josh was there longer than I was there. And then we podcasted together for quite a while, and then the whole bottom fell out of PS Nation, as most of you know. It started with Josh's departure, and then over time it eventually led to Michael and myself branching off and doing our own independent thing, and Josh periodically hangs out. But Josh has been playing video games for a long time. He sort of keeps up on current things going on, just depending on what he's got going on in his life and his world right now. But if you've never heard him before, he's got a vast of knowledge, and he's a very 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 good conversationalist and loves to hang out and chat, and creepily pops up in text messages randomly when we mess up. So other than that, if Josh, if you want to introduce yourself a little bit and let some people know about you that maybe don't know who you are.
I've been a gamer for a very long time. I'm old. My first console was an Atari 2600, which I still have, and I've been gaming since then. So yeah, just me and the kids and my wife hanging out now, just kind of working, enjoying life.
Michael says you're old AF. He's in the chat. So.
Oh, that child! What is he doing? Why is he here? Why isn't he out having his fun?
Probably because he couldn't pass the Disney height test. He couldn't get past the bar. So I told him to take those platform shoes, but
Well, I'll tell you, I looked at the weekly notes here and what's going on, but the most
in my defense, I don't do these, so this is literally this afternoon.
Okay, but the most important things I want to talk about before we get into all that, really about how the Tigers are doing and the Phillies, and then when we finish that, there's this Microsoft Activision thing that I keep hearing about. We should really dig into that and really Like, get into the meat of that.
Hey, I'm okay. For the record, I'm a realistic baseball fan. I understand what the Tigers are working on and processing. You, as a Phillies fan, have been like kicked in the balls.
Yeah. I'm figuring at some point they're just going to put it all together and go on a run.
This is not the NBA where they cannot wait to try until the playoffs.
Yeah, it is what it is. I've been beaten down over the past couple of years as a Philly fan.
I just wonder how much sports talk we can do before we just run Michael away.
I'm trying.
All right, so we're going to jump into some news. It has been a little bit of a lighter news week. However, there is a little bit of a bombshell from Xbox that I think would be a pretty interesting discussion. And don't worry, for those of you that are interested, I'm sure Michael and I will touch on it when Michael returns, just because of how big of a deal it is essentially what he said. So first we're going to start off with, and I want to make sure I get the studio's name right. So Sony Studio Pixel Opus. Best Opus. See, I knew I was going to. Best known for Concrete Genie is shutting down. In a tweet posted, they said that, "Dear friends, our Pixel Opus adventure has come to an end. As we look to new futures, we wanted to say a heartfelt thank you to the millions of passionate players who supported us in our mission to make beautiful, imaginative games with heart. We are so grateful." So there, I guess, first question I would have is that, Josh, have you played Concrete Genie?
Yes. Now, well, what's your second question?
Did you enjoy it?
Yeah.
Okay.
But so this is interesting. I was bummed out when I heard about this. So I met them. I met the studio at E3. I think it was 2014. They were working on Entwined. I think it was like shadow dropped at E3 that year. It was like the surprise. Mm-hmm. But it was cool because it was like a handful of students from a couple of universities. I think it was Carnegie Mellon and probably San Jose State. Right. They were like, after Journey, these guys, they were like, Sony was like, "Hey, let's put together students and let's fast track them and find these really good programmers and create a studio. Let's see what they can do." And they came up with Entwined. Mm-hmm. So there's a video out there somewhere. I guess it's still on that PS Nation channel, I would assume, of me interviewing two of the students who were developers in the studio and the Sony guy who was there running the whole thing, kind of overseeing and guiding and running the project, essentially.
This is like kind of back in the day when Sony had really amazing relationships with independent studios. Like, yeah. Their relationships aren't necessarily bad with independent studios right now, but they're not at the level they were 10-ish years ago. So. Yeah,
well, it's a different, like, management has a different focus at this point.
That's kind of the direction I want to go with this, and a little bit. And I feel like if you're looking into some of this a little bit, and it sounds like this is not, and I've been advocate against him in terms of against Jim Ryan's philosophy of what he thinks of this, and it'll kind of interject with what I'm talking about later as well. But essentially, the belief is that the studio shut down because Concrete Genie did not sell well. And it did not sell well in Sony's eyes. And in Sony's eyes, it needs to be multiple millions of sales now. At least that what my perception of Jim Ryan's eyes is he wants blockbusters. He wants, they celebrate. They don't really talk about, Sony doesn't really talk about sales units unless it's in like over 7 or 8 million. We just saw a tweet today about Horizon Forbidden West hitting like 8.5 million sales. Fantastic for that game. Obviously well deserved, not even counting a PC release. But if I had to guess, I roughly, I don't think Concrete Genie passed 1 million. Do you think that's fair?
Probably, yeah. Okay. It's probably around there.
So I wasn't aware that Sony owned them.
Yeah, I believe they did, or it was like a really, really tight relationship. My recollection of it was that Sony was behind all of it. That right. they put it all together. It was like a, I can't even think of the word. My mind is blank. It was a project, it was an experiment. essentially. That let's see if we can do something like this and make this work, because where are we going to find the next generation of game developers? Let's pluck them right out of school and see if we can put together a studio and see what they can do. Essentially, that's what it felt like from what I remember. I mean, this was, how long ago was this? Like 7-8 years ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it says like the studio was founded in 2014 and worked on Entwine, and then later Concrete Genie, which received praise for lavish artwork. What is unclear, just is as of right now, is that if the entire staff of Pixel Office has been laid off, or if they just are closing the studio and moving the talent somewhere, spreading the talent out.
Yeah.
So that it is unclear. They were reportedly working on an untitled project in collaboration with Sony Picture Animation. It's unclear if that project's being moved to another team. Sony's statement is PlayStation Studios regularly evaluates its portfolio and status of the studio's projects to ensure they meet the organization's short and long-term strategic objectives. As part of the recent review process, it's been decided that Pixel Office will close on June 2nd.
Yeah, and that's the rub right there. It's their long-term objectives that Jim Ryan is not behind.
You don't sell enough, and you're not making a games as a service.
Yeah.
So
he doesn't seem to be. Yeah, he's looking for the big games. He's not looking for the little indie games that used to be championed at Sony, at PlayStation.
So
that's my feeling.
It sucks. Well. I played Concrete Genie for a couple of hours on one of my vacations, and I didn't unenjoy it, but it definitely wasn't something that was necessarily in my wheelhouse. But I thought it looked really cool, and I liked the direction that they were going in terms of like trying to make trying to shine some light on some stuff that was happening to people in the world. It was a little bit of I would call it kind of like a bullying game, like how somebody deals with being bullied, and then also some pretty cool mechanics with the art. But I can also see like possibility of we were trying too hard to do something too unique. So
yeah. It was a different kind of game, and it was but it was cool. It was really well built and really had a cool design aesthetic to it.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So obviously we've got some like earnings call things going on, and I know Josh is a fan of this as well. So there, as of now, Nintendo is officially saying no Switch successor, whether it's a Switch Pro, Switch 2, or any of that stuff. At all until at least in the rest of this physical year. So the earliest it would be is April 2024, which in Nintendo's world means holiday 2024, if anything. Because they're saying nothing in the physical year of 2023, which ends at the end of March of 2024. So, Josh, any... to be fair, I got this headline from IGN, but don't hold your breath for the Switch U.
The Switch U. Oh my gosh! Could you imagine if they did something that bad again?
Yeah. Any thoughts? Because there was tons of speculation about 6 or 8 months ago that Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom wasn't going to run on current Switch hardware.
Everybody gets a bug up their ass. Like when you get a couple years into a console life, everybody
7 years
gets
old.
But
and
it's
Nintendo.
Like
12-year-old hardware. So.
But it's Nintendo. It doesn't matter. They'll run it as long as they can. And
the decline is starting to happen.
Now it is.
Yep. So this is the first quarter, I think they said, or like that they saw an actual decline in console sales. On the heels, it's not unexpected. We're getting a couple quarter cycles past the Switch OLED. So like the last little iteration on it. There are technically 3 different versions of the Switch out there right now: the original Switch, the Switch Lite, and the Switch OLED.
But now, I wonder what they're comparing this to. Yeah, there's a decline, but is that because they're coming off the pandemic?
Right,
where everybody was sitting home and everybody was buying a Switch.
Yeah, so this comes despite a decline in Switch sales. The console sold close to 18 million units in the last financial year, down from 23 million units sold the year before, and 28 million the year before that, which is 28 million the year before that is height of pandemic. Nintendo is not looking to rush a new console out to tackle this decline, though, as it has forecasted another drop for the coming year. Their statement says sustaining the Switch's sales momentum will be difficult in its 7th year. our goal of selling 15 million units this physical year is a bit of a stretch, but we will do our best to bolster demand going into the holiday to bolster demand going into the holiday season so that we can achieve the goal. Just release Mario Kart 9.
Yeah, they've got, I'm sure, because we know what they do. They have these games and they're complete and they're ready and they just sit on them until they need something and they're like, okay, drop that and here's big sales again.
Yeah, and to your point, like it's the rumors are that this Switch 2 would be said to offer boosted graphics akin to the PlayStation 4 and the PlayStation 4 Pro.
Okay.
So they'd be on the PS4 Pro quality. But so, they've always been successsul other than the Wii U in terms of, being behind, and they are behind the tech market, but at the same time, like I've been starting to pay a little bit more attention. It's crazy to think about it. So we're on the heels of like Jedi Survivor coming out on consoles at around 145 gigs. Sounds like once you get all the bugs and stuff ironed out, like Jedi Survivor is a really, really solid game. But Zelda Tears of the Kingdom is going to be 16 gigs.
But it's also it's in terms of the look of it, it's not Jedi Survivor.
I agree, but it's going to be in the same list or higher than Jedi Survivor.
Yeah, but again, that's Nintendo.
Yeah.
Give you the joke with Xbox is that it's Halo, Forza, and Gears. Yeah. And with Nintendo, they're going to throw out their Mario, their Zelda. Yeah. Their Metroid.
I put it on our Facebook group a couple weeks ago, like right when all the talk about Redfall 30 frames per second was out. I said, we talk all the time about console wars this and console sales this and hardware sales this and yada yada yada. And here's Nintendo, like, hold my beer. Here's our Zelda game, 20 million units.
Yeah, exactly. They've got their built-in audience. Yeah, they know exactly what they're going to get out of it. They know what it is. It doesn't have to be 4K 3D. Gorgeous ray tracing. It's Nintendo.
I mean,
they're going to put out a game.
Best,
it's all gameplay.
What's the best thing that you like about the Switch right now, Josh?
Just as portable. I can pick it up. I can play it. I can just pause it and just come back to it whenever.
Yeah.
That's the easiest thing about it.
So, I mean, do you think that it's just going to be a more powerful version of this? Like, do you think that like it's truly going to be like a Switch Pro or Switch 2? It's going to play all the Switch games, I would assume, and then it's going to have certain games that can only play on it that can't play on the Switch 1, right? Like the next thing.
And knowing Nintendo, no, they've got something else.
Okay.
They don't like to just do the same thing over again.
Unless it's the DS.
Yeah, but that's like 8 different versions of it. Yeah. But even with that, they did 3DS, so they tried something different. Since the early consoles, they've been trying something different each, like from the N64 to the GameCube, to the Wii, to the Wii U, to the Switch. They always try to. Now they seem to always try to iterate into something and innovate into something much bigger. So I expect it to be similar. I expect it to be portable. But
do you think they can get the power of a PS4 Pro in a handheld?
I don't know. I don't know. I honestly, I have no idea. And I can't envision like what the gimmick on this one is going to be, what the twist on this one is going to be, but I expect something to be there. I don't expect just Switch Pro essentially, I expect more. Just because it's Nintendo. I don't know what it'll be.
Mm-hmm. And we haven't seen even like typically like we've seen leaks of stuff before. We've seen little blueprints or iterations of things when they're close, which also leads me to believe that they're really not that close.
Oh, yeah.
Unless we are getting like just a Switch Pro where they're going to be like, bigger screen, better battery, better processor, like in terms of like just a steroided Switch. And only running like certain games, but still running the other games maybe a little bit better, if that's even a possible thing. So we'll see.
I mean, look at the Steam Deck.
Have you seen the new competitor that's supposed to like announce some pricing, like what Asus is making? Like
everybody's coming out with theirs.
Yeah, I mean, if based on like there's supposed to be like pricing and stuff announced like this week for that, and that one looks like crazy interesting. But there's 3 different versions of Steam Decks, I think, based on power. 2 or 3.
Yeah, I don't know. Is it all based on power? I thought it was mostly based on.
Might be graphics card or something. Yeah.
Okay. I thought it was mostly based on the internal drive space.
You think it's just storage?
There might be a processor difference. I don't know. I got the high end one. That's all I know.
Play PC
What
games.
do I know? I just turn it on and play. I'm past that point where I'm worried about which is which. Give me the big one and let's go.
Can I do it? Yep. All right, we're good. All right. Let's get into a little bit of the nuts and bolts because I think you and I will have a very interesting conversation about this. So, Phil Spencer did an interview the day after Redfall launched. He was on the Kind of Funny Xcast, or the week. I think it was the same week. It was recently. And the biggest quote that came out of it is near the end of his interview. First off, I think the Kind of Funny team did a fantastic job interviewing him. If you get a chance to listen, watch, whatever you want to do with that. I think that, I know Paris personally. I think Paris did great. Snowbike Mike, I think he did a fantastic job as well. But the biggest thing that came out of it was near the end was Phil Spencer said, "We are not in the business of out-consoling Sony or out-consoling Nintendo. There isn't really a great solution or win for us. I know that will upset a ton of people, but it's just the truth of the matter. When you're third place in the console marketplace and the top 2 players are as strong as they are, and in certain cases that have very discrete focus on doing deals and other things that make being on an Xbox team and make being on Xbox hard as a team, that's not on us, not on anybody else. That's on us, not on anybody else." I am butchering this. Our version is that everybody that's on console has to feel like they're in a great experience and that they're a first-class citizen. They've invested a ton in our platform, but we're not in a position. But we are not in a position, and I see out there. I see community that is just build
commentary.
Yeah, I see commentary that is if you just build great games, everything would turn around. It's just not true that if we go off and build great games, all of a sudden you're going to see console share shift in some dramatic way. We lost the worst generation to lose in the Xbox One generation when everybody built their digital library of games. So, he literally said out loud what I've been saying for months. And for like a year and a half of Xbox does not care about selling boxes.
Yeah.
I agree with almost everything he said in this statement, but except for essentially him saying we can't just make great games and it fixes it. It doesn't fix it, but it doesn't hurt.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's that.
But his point is, and I had this conversation with a friend of mine, and I said this, and I said, okay, so if Starfield wins Game of the Year, let's just say Starfield comes out and it's an 11 out of 10, and it wins Game of the Year. Does that mean the Xbox Series is going to win the holiday console market?
I don't think so.
I don't either. So that's what he's saying.
Yeah.
You could even make a great high-quality game, and I think he said it somewhere else. I don't have the exact quote in here, but they're not going to go sell their PS5s.
Yeah, I heard that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and sure, like the argument that everybody's been showing is that, during the PS3 era when Sony started out behind the 8 ball, I believe they were a year behind on launching. And then near the end of the generation, they did actually catch and pass Xbox, at least in North America, on box sales.
And worldwide, yeah.
Yeah, worldwide.
But they were a year behind and outrageously overpriced compared to an Xbox.
And yes, the Uncharted's and The Last of Us and all the games that they brought out over time were, slowly but surely they were chinking away at that lead to where they did the marathon, and by the 26th mile they were ahead. They were ahead, but they weren't ahead at the 23rd mile. So, do I think that, Microsoft making high quality games will help fix this problem? Yes. Like I do. Do I think it's going to make them become first or second place in the console market? No. So it would just increase Game Pass subscriptions.
Well, and that's kind of what they're focused on. That's kind of what they've been focused on for a while, and it's shocking that he finally said all this out loud. I mean, this is the kind of stuff that, we knew, or we had a feeling of, that this is what's really going on. But for the head of the division to come out and just say it, just straight up lay it all out there and say, yeah, we fucked up. We're in third place. I mean, they never, through the entire 360 generation, they were trumpeting their numbers over and over and over again. Mm-hmm. And then when they started losing and they were not in first place, they just stopped talking about numbers entirely. Mm-hmm. And for them to come out and say this, but I don't know. I think it's a good thing that he's airing this all out in public.
He's answering the stuff that people are asking him, though, or that are like people are tweeting or YouTubing comments, or like the narrative around everybody saying like the only thing that matters is selling 8 million or 12 million or 14 million copies of your game, and he's saying he's not demeaning any of that, but he's just saying like that's not us. Like we're not going to do that.
But that's not what Xbox is anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Xbox is a vehicle for Game Pass at this point. And they've been trying to push Game Pass out to every other place, so that Xbox becomes the service behind your gaming experience. They're trying to move past console wars into a place where they're like the first Netflix streaming service, where they dominate the marketplace of streaming services, and they are the de facto go-to for every game you want, because you just pay your monthly fee and you've got every game at your fingertips.
Continuous revenue does not equal profit, but continuous revenue equals enough data that people will continue to invest in your company. Netflix has been living on that model for 10 years.
Yeah.
Like Netflix is in debt, and they're always in massive debt. I equated it a lot to... and I think you'll get a kick out of this because of where you live. This is like it's very similar to the move that happened in the radio market when Howard Stern went to satellite radio.
Yeah, he
took a ton of people with him to satellite radio, and they may or may not have stayed, but whatever, I think it was Sirius at the time. Whatever Sirius paid Howard Stern, they made back within the first 90 days. Based on people that signed up for their service.
Subscribed,
subscribed to the service, whether it was for 1 month or for 1 year or for 6 months or whatever it was. I don't have any statistical stuff in front of me, but I would love to have seen, and I'd have to go really back and dig, but like the Game Pass subscription number before the Bethesda acquisition, and then now after the Bethesda acquisition. So let's say it's an increase of 4 million subs, and that those subs have stayed. That's a lot of money, which is making a significant dent within the first couple of years of the investment in Bethesda. I feel the same thing. Microsoft's not buying Bethesda and attempting to buy Activision Blizzard because they want to like innovate and make a brand new like marquee game of the year contender from somebody. They're bolstering their library to make sure that the things stay on Game Pass and they can hold a subscriber count. Yeah. Until the subscribers decline significantly in Game Pass, we will not see any changes to what they're doing right now. Yes, the numbers they're waving up and down. You're seeing peaks and you're seeing valleys. You're seeing people join and leave, rejoin when something comes out and play it and beat it and leave. But they're not declining enough. Game Pass is the most gigantic games as a service that's out there right now. And companies do not start to react or panic until they see a continuous decline in users. And we're not hearing about what the current user base is of Game Pass, but it's got to be hovering around 27 to 30 million users. I believe it hasn't dipped below 25 million, and I believe it hasn't gone over 30 million. If it had ever gone over 30 million at one point in time, we would have heard it. So it's hovering around in there. I expect to see a significant. I expected to see a significant increase of it with Redfall. However, I don't think that's the case right now because Redfall seems to be just hot garbage. But I do think that Starfield will bolster the subscription. Any increase in subscribers is a win for Microsoft's current market share right now.
Yeah, it is. Well, it's funny because that Howard Stern analogy, at the time, I don't know if you remember this or if you were aware of this, but at the time, There were two. There was Sirius and there were XM.
XM, yeah, they're the same company now. So
they are now, and that's the funny thing. So Sirius at the time had a total of 600,000 subscribers. That was it.
And they went out and bought their content.
Yes, XM I think was in the 3 to 4 million range, or maybe 5 million even.
Mm-hmm.
And Howard Stern met with both of them. XM basically said, "Fuck you. You know, you're going to take what we give you because
we have the users.
Yeah, we own it. You're not go. What are you going there with 600,000? Ha ha, sucker." Mm-hmm. Well, and then they jumped to 14, 15 million and bought XM. It's crazy. And with Microsoft and with Xbox, their whole it's all about IP. I mean, that's why they're buying. That's why they bought Bethesda. That's why they're trying to buy Activision Blizzard.
I don't really think it's about the IP. I think it's about the library.
But it is. It's that library. They have a vast library. They have all this IP, and a lot of it sells very well. And it's a draw. It's a draw to have that on your Game Pass system on that online service year round. Mm-hmm. Not with it going in and out like a lot of the stuff is going with PlayStation. It
baffles my mind that Spider-Man's coming off that service.
Yeah, and PlayStation has a whole different. It baffles my mind that PlayStation is so far behind with streaming when they bought Gaikai first, at the time, which was the best streaming service, and then did next to nothing with it. It's
like if you run the numbers, like it's so hard to fathom it because it's two different directions. But we know that there's 50 million PlayStation Plus subscribers. Whatever tiers they are or they aren't, we don't know. So if you use the base $50 subscription, it's like $2.7 billion a year or something like that. I'm not calculating this in front of me, so my math is not always perfect. And at 25 million subscribers at Game Pass, at the $10 a month subscription is like 2.5 billion. Like it's 50% less subscriber users paying you more money. So it's the conversation of what's better. Is it better to sell one thing that's $100, or is it better to sell 10 things that are $10? It's I've got 10 people talking about my product versus one person talking about my product. So like it's but I got $100 from that one person, and you had to get 10 people to get $100. So like, what's better? It's so hard to tell. I struggle with that as a retail manager for as long as I have. Is it good for that one thing that's $5 to sell 50 units of it every day, or is it better for me to sell the thing $100 things? Like, it's so hard, and it's two different directions, and they both can be successful. And I really honestly feel like if Microsoft Corporation truly felt that Xbox is bleeding this money that everybody says that they're bleeding, they would stop them.
Yeah, well, I don't remember where I heard or read. I think was Xbox at one point, or are they one of the bigger parts of Microsoft in general? I mean, Windows basically rules everything, but I thought Xbox was making enough money. Probably not anymore.
When they did their rearranging, Xbox Gaming, or whatever Phil Spencer's official title is, like Microsoft Gaming, that entity is enough of like 15-18% of Microsoft's like revenue. So to where like Phil has as his new title has a legitimate seat near the front of the boardroom table. Yeah, because of the amount of revenue that he gets to sit like 2 seats away from the Windows guy or something. In terms of like his hierarchy, I believe. But who knows what that necessarily encompasses? Is it part of Solitaire? Like, I don't know.
Well, it's the guy down at the end of the table is in charge of Clippy. So what are you gonna do?
So I definitely think that there's people are like, oh, like based on what Phil says that he should. Like, there needs to be a change in leadership. I don't think so. Like, I don't feel like Microsoft is at that point at all, because they are producing enough revenue that they don't feel they need to shut it down.
Well, from where they were,
right,
at the Xbox One, And
from
like
the
you
Don
said,
Matrick era, the end of
yes,
the Matrick era.
Yes, they lost that generation, and it was all because of the online, always online,
which is what
demands.
We're at now. They were that far ahead. So
yeah,
but the Sirius XM thing is fascinating to me as I think about it. So Sirius and XM are fighting for content, similar to like even the broad like Nintendo and Sony fighting for content, and then Microsoft's like, we're gonna make apps.
Yeah,
and Game Pass is an app.
It's essentially what it is. Yeah,
because now I don't need satellite. I had XM when I lived in Kentucky because I lived in a bowl and I couldn't listen to anything but like Imus before he went nuts. I was constantly trying to get anything better than like whatever local Kentucky radio talking about benching the starting five of basketball in like 2003 when I lived down there, to where now it's like I wouldn't ever imagine I don't even want the Sirius or XM app, because if I want to listen to ESPN, I download their app. If I want to listen to like Detroit Sports Radio when I'm in New York, I'll just download my Odyssey app. That's the radio company that owns the station, and I can do everything on my phone. And Game Pass is essentially in my opinion, is going to eventually be like this thing that you obviously carry in your hand, and you'll have a library with you at all times, similar to like Netflix. If I'm riding in a car and I want to watch something, I just turn Netflix on and watch it.
That's their ultimate goal is the Netflix of games. And when they've got all that big content, when they've got all that IP that they can just have there all the time. If you had Call of Duty all the time on there year-round.
And I think the only thing that the quality of games will do, if they ever get a higher quality of games, is just increase their subscriptions. We're not gonna see again Starfield selling. We're not gonna be in the world where we're gonna see Starfield selling 15 million copies. It could possibly be in a Game of the Year conversation. But it's not gonna chart on MPD, and you're not gonna see hardware movement from it. But you might see Xbox come out and say, "Hey, we surpassed 37 million subscribers."
Yeah. Yeah.
And if they say that like December 1st of this year, and they haven't spoken about that in 6, 9, 10 months, then it's obviously because of Starfield. I don't expect them to come out and say anything, based on Redfall. But again, whether you like to hear it or don't like to hear it, if the launch of Redfall that day increased their subscription count 1 million subscribers, 500,000 subscribers, that's a win for Xbox. An increase in subscriptions is a win. It's not necessarily as much as they want it to be, but everybody's like, oh, like Hi-Fi Rush isn't charting. Those games aren't designed to chart anymore. They're not going to, anything that Microsoft owns is not going to be on an MPD. It's not. Yeah. Because why spend $60 on something that when you can spend $10 a month?
But does that hurt them from a public perception standpoint for a certain segment of the public that is not
but I don't think
so
he cares
keyed
about
into
that perception anymore?
No, yeah.
Because ultimately, here's the deal, and you know this as much as I do. The individuals are smart. Society is dumb.
I got in so much trouble. I said that slightly different on the other podcast years and years ago. Yeah. And I got so much shit for that. But look, it's borne out. You've seen it over the past couple of years.
An individual is smart. A group of individuals are stupid.
Oh, yeah.
And the thing that happens is that somebody will complain about it and fuss about Starfield. But then when the game comes out and they hear the game is great and they have a PC that can run it, they're just going to subscribe to Game Pass.
Yeah.
And they're going to do it quietly, and they're going to play the game, and it's because they're going to want to. When the Activision Blizzard purchase goes through, hence I said when, because it will go through, and the next Call of Duty comes out, sure, you can buy it on PlayStation for $70 or $75 or hell $80 at that point in time probably, or you can just play it on your Roku and give Microsoft $10 a month. They're going to do that. They can sit there and say that they won't do it, but they're going to do it.
Oh, absolutely. That's the whole point of it. That's why they're buying this, is to get this stuff up there and just have it evergreen on Game Pass.
And any consumer that's like hardcore PlayStation that's buying Call of Duty on PlayStation, all you're doing is giving Microsoft money. like Microsoft makes so much money from Minecraft on Switch, on PlayStation.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, like, what was it? I think you'll understand this because Michael didn't get this reference. The beer commercial that aired during the Super Bowl. I'll get all the details wrong, but it was essentially like 3 or 4 different versions of beer, like Budweiser and Anheuser and Coors Light and then at the end, like, everybody's like, why are all these beers in the same commercial? And nobody realized that they were all owned by the same company.
Oh my gosh. It's yeah. All right. I'm not even. Yeah.
So I mean, I guess ultimately, Josh, like, what is your thoughts on Phil Spencer saying we cannot compete in the console market, which is what he said.
It is, and my thoughts go right to The Simpsons, where Lisa said, "Yes, I'm going to marry a carrot," and they all went, "Oh, she admitted it." Oh, it's everybody going, "Oh my gosh, he admitted it." Like, but I don't. I honestly, I don't think. I think that's what they've been gearing towards. They've been headed towards for the past couple of years. That it's less about the box and it's more about the service. They want Netflix is the best analogy. They want to be that go-to for gaming, where you can get it on your phone, where you can get it on your computer, where you can get it on your Apple TV, on your Roku, anywhere you are. You have access to your Xbox games, and you can play them at any time, anywhere. Eventually, that's where they want to get to. There's a lot of technical hurdles to overcome to get to that point. But having all those different types of games and all those different studios under your umbrella, where you always have those games available, that helps draw in more and more and more people. And they're less concerned about the box, clearly, because they're selling an Xbox Series X or S or whatever the fuck they're called, which doesn't play, which is funny because somewhere in that he said, where was it?
They've invested a ton in our platform, but we're not in a position, and I see it out there. I see commentary that if you just build great games, everything would turn around.
No, there was something else where it was about they want. Oh, here it is. Our vision is that everybody that's on console has to feel like they have a great experience and they're a first-class citizen. The Series S and its issues with some games. I don't know that that's everybody having a first-class citizen.
They're allowing the consumer to choose, though.
Yes,
they're
choosing
the experience that they want.
Absolutely,
like,
yeah.
You know, we've done that. You've done this in your sales version. Okay, what's this and what's this? Oh, that does this and that does this. What's the difference? Well, is this worth $200 to you?
Yeah.
No. Okay, get that. Yes, get that. Like, that's the decision you have to make. My son has my Series S. He plays Game Pass when he has time to play it, and if there's something cool on there that draws his attention, he plays it. If there's not, he doesn't play, and he plays on his PlayStation. Like, you know, he doesn't need it to be. He's not sitting there like super caring about if it's in 4K and 120 frames and 120 hertz. Like, he just wants to know, like, hey, Dad, like, did you like playing this game? Yeah, it's fun. It's on Game Pass. Check it out. Okay, he plays it, and if it holds his attention, he finishes it. If it doesn't hold his attention, he finds something else that does.
Yeah. Well, that's the nice thing about it.
To it. Yeah.
But so right now, Game Pass is on the Xbox consoles and PC, and that's it, right?
And cloud. Yeah. I can play with my Game Pass subscription. I can play stuff on my phone.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Some of it supports touch, and some of it doesn't, and you have to have a Bluetooth controller.
Yeah.
But I believe, actually, you know what? I can check right now, but I think that I can play MLB The Show on my phone.
Nice.
Let me double check that while we're talking about it. But
so that's a great example.
You could conceivably have a subscription to Xbox Game Pass without a PC and without a console and without a TV.
Yeah. So MLB is a great example. So last year I bought it on PS5 and I bought it on the Switch.
MLB The Show 2023, console and cloud.
Okay. So last year I bought
so
that
I can
on
play it right now on my phone.
on both, and I knew I could play it on. There you go. Holy shit!
Yeah.
So I knew I could play it on Xbox if I wanted, but having it on the Switch was new and novel, and it was cool that I could transfer my save back and forth when I wasn't at the console, and I could just play on the, just play some games, whatever. I didn't buy the new one. I really want it because I love the Negro Leagues thing that they're doing and all this other stuff that they got.
Game Pass.
Exactly. I'm not going to buy it on PlayStation 5. I'm going to play it on Game Pass.
Keeps you as a subscriber because of pieces of content like that.
Yeah. But I'm the guy that just, like my PlayStation Plus thing. I did whatever it was, the highest one. I said, here's 5 years worth of subscription. And I did the same thing with Xbox. I don't play it if you really broke down how often I play anything off those things, I'm throwing money right out the window as I'm sending lighter fluid in matches right after it.
When you make the decision to pick up a controller and play, you don't want to have to think about it. You just want to click it and go.
And that's why I do it, because it's there when I want it, and I don't want to have to think about it. But it's funny that PlayStation first-party exclusive that had been there so long, the best and really for years the only baseball game, simulation game that you could play. Now I'm not even going to buy it on PS5 because I can just go right over to Xbox with my Game Pass and just play it whenever I want.
And both parties win, guys. Like, as Sony signed that deal with the publisher that's publishing MLB The Show on Switch and on Xbox, they gave Sony a crap ton of money to do it. And the more successful it is, the higher the cost for the IP separation or for the publishing rights on non-PlayStation is going to be. When MLB 24 comes out, if you're seeing, they'll see the data, and know who's playing and what platforms they're playing on, and whether it's, whether they go to Xbox and say, hey, you have, I don't even know, 1.5 million players this year. You had 1 million last year. So if you want to continue, they'll show that to the production company or the publisher that's publishing it on the Switch and on Xbox and say, it's going to cost you, again, I'm just going to use basic round numbers. It cost you $2 million last year. We see an increase of this many players, so we're going to charge you $3 million. Oh, we don't want to pay that. Well, then you can't put it on your platforms. Okay, well, here you go.
I don't know if they can do that. With MLB, I don't know if they can do that because I think baseball forced Sony's hand.
I think it just has to be offered.
Really?
I mean, I'd have to dig into it more. I know that MLB made the speculation is MLB said if we're going to extend the license, you have to, offer it multiple platforms or have to have it on multiple platforms. But I'd be curious if Sony goes, hey, we have it ready, but you don't have anybody to publish it. But you won't agree to our terms. Well, we know what money you're getting out of it. Sony's still running a business.
Yeah, well.
So I don't think that they're forced to give it to the publishing company for free. So I would assume that there's probably clauses in there for user counts, and then also we know Sony's getting a kickback of the microtransactions. That.
Oh, absolutely. Of course they are.
So you're not hurting. I don't feel like if you play MLB The Show on Game Pass and you're holding a Game Pass subscription, you're not taking money out of Sony's wallet.
No.
So
they're getting
nor
paid
are you
for all
taking
that.
money out of Microsoft's wallet when you buy Minecraft on PlayStation.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's just this blurry line that's going on, and there's so many people in the gaming world that are tied to my plastic box sells 4 times to your 1 unit of your box. My games sell 10 million copies. And the most refreshing thing for me over the last couple of years is now owning a Series X, a PS5, and a Switch, and a high-end, mid to high-end PC at the moment, is that when I see a trailer on YouTube or I see something trending or something that's announced, I don't stress anymore because I know I can play it.
Yeah.
I don't have any worries or any concerns of what platform it is or isn't on. I haven't turned on my Xbox Series to play myself in probably 6 weeks. I haven't turned my PlayStation 5 on in probably 3 weeks. I've been messing around on my Switch. My life is going to, after on Friday, my life's going to be on my Switch with Tears of the Kingdom for a couple weeks. And it's going to be more fighting it out of Owen's hands. And then eventually it'll switch back over. I mean, I'm in such a little bit of a video game funk right now. I haven't played Destiny like in 25 days, which is just an enormously long time for me.
That is insane.
So it's just there's not enough draw there right now to what's going on. Like it's, there's a brand new game called Ravenlock on Xbox Game Pass that looks super cool, and I just haven't had a chance to sit down and play it. I'm trying to, if you pay attention to any stuff I've been posting on social media, like I had to be like turned into like lawn guy. I just got brand new sod of my front yard, so I have to like water this thing like so much. And I'm still like hiring and training a staff, and at the same time I need to drop about 25 pounds because I'm about 20 pounds heavier than I want to be right now, from everything that's going on in my life.
Speaking about lawn guy, let's take a little aside here. I finally got an electric lawnmower.
Oh my! You have a Roomba for your yard?
No.
A battery powered lawnmower.
Yes, okay. A battery powered lawnmower, electric, because solar, and I've got I'm like, I'm never buying gas again. I used it for the first time a couple weeks ago, and I'm like, I want to go cut the lawn again. I'm so excited. It's quiet. It's powerful. You don't come back
smelling like oil. It's not shaking the hell out of your hands.
I'm not smelling gasoline the whole time I'm running it, and it's quiet, powerful. It glides like it's beautiful, and it's amazing. And it came with 2 batteries, and I'm thinking, 2 big batteries. And I'm like, am I going to need to switch out the battery? I did the whole yard, and I still had three
quarters of a charge left.
Exactly. Yeah.
My company sells.
It was
one,
amazing.
And I've been looking at it, and I just bought a lawnmower like 2 or 3 years ago, and like my company sells one that works with the lawnmower takes the 2 batteries, but you can take the batteries and put it on the leaf blower and the edge trimmer and so it's I
did my research, and it's Ego is the one that's the brand I'm in, and everything is Ego, and it's freaking awesome.
You bought the Game Pass of lawnmowers because now you have to buy the other things that are compatible with that battery. Yep. Like you're in their ecosystem now for your outdoor power tools.
Well, I started with the blower. I started with the leaf blower, and I was like, this thing is really cool. And then I was like,
I already have 50% of the cost set aside for my lawnmower. So.
It's awesome. It's so good.
But it's the same concept, and people seem to I'm not purposely trying to tie it together, but it's literally the same concept of once you buy that, it's iPhone versus Android. Like I have everything I charge is USB-C. Like I could charge my phone and my PlayStation 5 controller on the same cord. Like, and that's a nice, convenient thing to me. Like, my daughter's, if you watch my daughter, she's got a MacBook and an iPhone and an iPad, and I've seen her and she's a college student, and I've seen her sit there and just move something from the MacBook to the iPad to the phone and go.
It's magic. It's amazing. I love it.
And it works for her. And I'm not an Apple guy anymore, but when I watch something like that happen in that ecosystem, I'm like, that's amazing for her.
Yeah.
Like she can have her textbook on her iPad, highlight a bunch of stuff, slide it over to her iPhone, go to class, and stick her phone in her leggings pocket, and she's good to go.
Yeah, I love it. I use that for work, and I use it just for life. It's the coolest thing.
It's the same thing. Now you're just taking that battery out of the lawnmower, sticking it on the blower, and then when you're done with it, stick it on the charger, and you're ready to go next time. And it's, to your point, it's what you did with the MLB The Show. Like, I'm in the car, I'm waiting for an appointment, I'm going to play my Road to the Show guy on the Switch a little bit. Oh, okay, cool. I want to play the better version when I'm at home for the weekend. Okay, boom, send it up to my Xbox, and here we go. Let me pick up right where I left off. It's just...
It's good stuff. It's fun.
It's an amazing world that we live in, so... All right, so it does not appear that anything so far has been delayed this week, but I may have missed something, but I didn't hear about anything being delayed.
No, I got one.
Oh, boy.
The Microsoft Activision merger.
That was last week. We already talked about that, Dick. All right, so, okay, let's delve into it a little bit. What's your feeling on CMA blocking it based on cloud gaming?
I think it was a bullshit excuse.
Do you believe the narrative that I believe of Jim Ryan is in the pocket of CMA from being from Europe?
Possibly. Potentially. I mean, I think Sony has a strong presence in Europe. They always have. And in England especially. Yep. So I don't know.
Do you think Microsoft will win the appeal?
Eventually,
based
yeah.
on that other cloud deal they just signed too. They just signed another cloud deal.
Yeah, I think eventually it's all just gonna happen, but they're gonna drag it out as long as they possibly can. Which is not great, because all that's doing is creating ill will between PlayStation and Xbox. Which, why? What's the point? Eventually they're gonna get it, and just deal with it. PlayStation's in a good place. I mean, I know Call of Duty is a big thing, but it is what it is. It's going to be on PlayStation for the foreseeable future, and if it goes away, it goes away. I mean, the gaming landscape will be so different 10 years from now. I mean, look at what it was 10 years ago to what it is now.
That's what we were talking about a little bit, like, and I know you're not over there, and I don't know if you. I mean, I know you had with some of the companies that you worked for a little while. You probably had some relationships with some people over there. You might still have some relationships with people in the UK. But what is your thought on going back to what we were doing like 8 or 10 years ago with like possibly having a Game Pass tier different for UK, like we had when PS Plus games were for the US, and remember when it was SCEA?
Yeah,
and there was almost like 2 different versions of Plus subscriptions.
It's funny because my son, he desperately wants to play Battlefront 2.
Okay.
Star Wars Battlefront 2 on the PlayStation. But he can't because his EA account has his actual birth date. And there's no way around that. So I finally said to him, you know what? Let's just make you another account with a different birth date, and that'll be your adult account that you can use for those games. He's like, you can do that? I was like, dude, I haven't used them in forever, but I had an England account, I had a Japan account, I had a Hong Kong account, I had so many different accounts on the PS3 just to get to the different PlayStation stores to see the trailers, to get some weird games that weren't available, I found a bunch of videos on a hard drive somewhere from all these crazy things that they were showing in Hong Kong and Japan that they never showed here.
Didn't you have at one point in time like a Japanese account for Vita?
Yeah. For what?
For Vita.
For Vita?
Like
no, I never did that because I needed a second full Vita to do that.
Oh, that's right.
Because you couldn't swap it in and out like you could with just a different account on the PS3. Yeah, I never did that though. But yeah, it's that same kind of thing. Like the world's a different place than it was. With the internet the way it is, and with information at everybody's fingertips.
Couldn't he just play Battlefront 2 on Xbox through EA Play?
No, because EA Play, you need an EA account.
Oh, okay. You
need an EA account tied to it, and it goes by your birth date, and you cannot change that in any way, shape, or form.
And it won't let you play a game that's below your age, your ESRB ratio.
No, it's not even that. It's your age. You're not allowed to play online with an EA account until you're 18.
Oh.
Yeah. It's fucked up. Again, this came up years ago when all he wanted to do was play some Plants vs. Zombies.
That's like a box that needs to be unchecked or something like that at EA that they're just not paying attention to.
Yeah.
Like that's a 20-year-old thing in the document of like you can't tie horses up on a Sunday afternoon or something.
He wanted to play Plants vs. Zombies, and he just wanted to play it. Just play it alone. He didn't want to go online or anything, but it was the online-only version of the game, and it wouldn't even let him play the game. It was infuriating. I was like, what the fuck is going on here? Believe me, I dug into this for weeks. I found out there was a way to change it. Like you had to change it's tied to your PlayStation account because you had to change your PlayStation account's birth date, and you can't do that. But there was a way if you got into Xperia and signed in through that, and that loophole got closed years ago. So
during stability patches.
Yeah, I just told him, I said, look, we'll just create you a new account, and just deal with having 2 accounts. He likes having his trophies in one place, obviously, but he desperately wants to play this, so he'll...
That's nuts.
Yeah. It's crazy.
All right, so speaking of playing, I mean, this could be an entire podcast dedicated just to you, but what have you been playing most recently, or what's holding your attention the most right now?
Well, it's weird. So I get between the two kids, they each get a night essentially, and we go back and forth. So with Zoe, we've been playing our way through Sackboy's Big Adventure.
Okay.
Which has been fascinating because we started it a long time ago and she was not great at it. She had all kinds of problems with it. Now she's amazing. She's gotten so good at platforming and doing crazy jumps and tough moves and stuff. So that's what we play together. I've been playing Borderlands 3 with Mason like crazy, which is fun because those are the types of games where
co-op or
yeah.
Okay, awesome.
Yep.
All right.
And those are the types of games where I'll play and then something else, some shiny thing over here will catch my attention and I'll never go back. But doing this, it's forcing me through these games with them in a good way. Like I'm having all kinds of fun with it.
Because they want to focus, they want to play, and Josh is but I want to go over there, and they're like, no, Dad, we're going over here.
Now, Mason's kind of like me in that respect, where he's like, ooh, what's over here? Oh, well, let's check this out. Oh, well, how about up here? Oh, well, it's taken us a while to get through that game. But it's funny.
You turn around and you're 780 yards away from the cursor.
We get split up a lot. But that has got me back to Borderlands 1 and 2.
Okay.
So every now and then I'm playing Borderlands 1 on the PS5 late at night.
The remaster, right?
And Borderlands 2 I'm playing exclusively on the Switch. So yeah, it plays great. It's not the Vita. Okay. It's not the Vita version. It's a really good version of it, and it plays really well. I'm having a great time with it. I am so much further in than I ever got, and I reviewed that damn game.
Yeah. I could totally see you just going to bed a half an hour, 45 minutes before you want to go to sleep, and you know, whatever TV show's on in the background, you're just kind of messing around, and then you're like, okay, it's 11 o'clock, time to turn off, go to sleep.
That's the best part of it. I can just pick it up. I don't even have to exit the game. I just leave the game on and just put the Switch to sleep. I pick it up, jump right back in, and I play a bunch, and I'm done.
Nice.
And Last of Us Part 1. Because on
PC or on PS5?
On PS5. Okay. I'm not going near that PC one. No, I've been playing it. Like we watched that, and Lou was blown away by it. Yep. Yeah, my wife was just blown away. She was like, "Holy shit!" I was like,
did your wife ever watch you play the game?
No, she watched the HBO show.
Right, but she never watched you play the game.
No.
Okay.
No.
Is she watching you play the game now?
No, I'll show her some stuff every now and then. Okay. I'm like, look,
hey, remember this?
Look at this.
Like in the show? Like, yeah.
Yeah, I take screenshots of stuff.
Angela saw me play the whole game.
What?
And then Angela has seen me play the entire game.
Yeah.
And then she watched the show. People at work have been watching the show, and there's some things that like some of us know like what goes on in part 2 and other people's attachments in part with the series, and I'm like, I'm going to walk away from you.
Yeah. I played a tiny bit of part 2, enough to get to a big thing that happens. And I was like, okay. And I never got to go back to it. So I figured I'm going to play through. Yeah. And it's funny because I just got to, and this is what I always wanted to do, but I never had the time to go back to it. I reviewed that for what was it, 3 that it came out? 4 that it came? No, it was 3 that it came out
PS3
on
was
originally.
first, and then it came out to PS4, and then the remaster on.
I got that the week before E3.
Oh, yeah.
And the embargo was lifting during E3, and I was like, fuck. And I had to play it. I had to finish the game in a weekend before leaving for E3, and I was in a panic because I got stuck at one part, and I'm like, there's no place to look up how do I get past this? I got to figure out a way to get past this. What am I going to do? But when they brought out the DLC, I always wanted to play
in chronological order. Or whatever.
Chronological, right through. And I got to do that. I just got past the DLC. And it was so exciting. I'm like, this is so cool doing it this way. And now I'm jumping right back into the game proper, which is near the end of it.
You have to go back to part 2. And I know you will.
Yeah, I will. I'm going to go right to part 2 at that. But that's mainly what I've been playing.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Any cool or new or interesting shows that you're watching, maybe kind of off the radar that, you know?
Well, Mason and I went to see Guardians of the Galaxy 3 on Sunday.
I'm hearing decent things.
It was great. Yeah. But see, look, I've enjoyed every Marvel movie that's come out and TV show.
Yeah.
And there's a reason for that. I think there's a reason.
It's the reason you play with blinders on.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. I do not look at anything. I do not read anything. I don't watch commercials. I haven't seen a commercial in 20 years plus. 20 years plus. But I don't watch trailers. I don't listen to commentary. I don't see headlines. I have cut myself off from all of that. I go in completely blank slate, completely unaware of who's in it. And I'm always surprised and delighted. Every single TV show and movie I watch, I'm surprised and delighted every time.
I've heard it's a very much a James Gunn farewell.
It is.
Good farewell, yes.
Yeah, it's great. It's actually really good.
You seen Super Mario?
No, I have not seen that yet. We will at some point.
Yeah,
but
it's worth it. Like well, I mean, at this point, Josh, I mean, if all the rumors are true, it's coming to streaming like in 10 days.
Yeah, probably. I wouldn't be surprised. Well, it was available on Twitter. I did watch the first 10 minutes. The whole movie was on Twitter at one point. Because somebody was trying to make a point at how fucked up Twitter is. And they're like, look, here's the entire movie. So I watched the first 10 minutes of it. But on TV, we've been watching Lego Masters New Zealand. Good luck finding that.
Josh and his Apple TV VPN or something.
From all the different Lego Masters that are out there, Australia is the best. And we're getting through New Zealand just so we can get to, because there's a new season of Lego Masters Australia. And the host and the Brickmaster, they're cool and they're so much fun, and just Australia is the best version of Lego Masters, period. So anybody who's into that, if you can find it and find a way to see it, go see it, because it's amazing. And I finally got my wife to start watching Sopranos.
Oh, interesting.
Which has taken me years and years to do, but we're like halfway through the first season or three-quarters of the way through the first season. I would probably love to watch that
with Angela, but I don't know if she'd probably get stressed out. So.
Yeah, well, with my wife, it's too slow.
Yeah.
She's like, and I said, just give it time. We got through the first episode finally, because we tried before. Yeah. And she bailed halfway through the first episode. She's like, this is going nowhere. I'm sick of this. She needs, but she's sticking it out, and she's starting to enjoy it a little bit more. So I was like, just wait till we get to the end of the first season.
Yeah.
Which
it's kind of like back
crazy.
in the day, HBO was doing that slow burn.
Yeah.
And then they would want to they'd be in the conversation. They'd do the slow burn, and then they drop a piece of dynamite like every 4 weeks, and they go back to the slow burn and drop another piece of dynamite. Or whatever.
Well, they just had one of the pieces of dynamite, and I know when we get to the end of the first season, there's major thing that happens, and that's going to get our attention. That's the most
refreshing thing, that when something happens, you're like, I can just watch the next one now, versus like it's February, the next season's not till September. Like,
yeah.
Because like a friend of mine that watched the Last of Us show, she's a coworker of mine, and she's like, so when's season 2? And I'm like, you got a long way to go. And I was like you got at least a year and a half minimum.
With that and a writer's strike going on, I think it's going to be a while till that comes out. But yeah, all right, so that's what we've been doing.
Awesome. So we are running a little bit short on the time window. Not that I'm too concerned about it, but we do have a couple of questions for you. So
okay.
So, similar to what you just talked about, Robert Cartwright both of these are ironically from the UK people. So, how is Josh's Lego collection going? And do you guys think Toys to Life like Disney Infinity will ever return?
Oh, I wish they would. I wish they would.
Well, maybe, Xbox buying Activision, maybe we'll see Skylanders again.
I doubt it. Because you can't really, that doesn't, having physical characters does not
NFCs,
really fit
Josh.
in with a, what?
It'll be NFC stuff. It'll be
NFT stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they did that with the Switch. You could
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like the Amiibo
you could
style
scan
thing.
them in essentially.
There's cards. There's Amiibo cards now. You don't even have to buy the statues.
Oh my gosh. That's ridiculous.
Or people are making amiibo cards and Nintendo hasn't caught them yet. I don't know which one's true. So.
Yeah, I'm still bummed out that they killed Disney Infinity because it was so much fun and the characters were so cool, and the ones that they had ready to go and they just dropped them, canceled it.
I almost bought a Skylanders game when you were talking about make your own Skylander.
Oh, it was freaking awesome. Those were great games. We should get back into that next, Mason and I, or even Zoe and I. She'd probably love that.
Next thing we see on Josh's social media is him bringing out the tackle boxes with all this stuff.
Oh, fuck yeah. No, they're right here. Like, they're not hidden away anywhere. They're right here. But yeah, I don't think those are, because like how the same way like Rock Band is still releasing content and there's still people playing it.
Yeah.
I don't see
like that
them.
Rocksmith that you can just hook up like real guitars now.
A real guitar, yeah. I don't see them doing a revival of Rock Band or Guitar Hero. I don't see them doing a revival of.
The only thing that I could ever
stuff,
see possible is somebody like doing a link with an actual like toy company. You know, like versus like Activision was essentially kind of making the Skylander figures themselves.
Lego Dimensions, man.
No, I get, I know, but I meant like, I don't even know, like something like Hasbro decides that they want to get into, like it's going to be both. Like,
yeah,
you can just buy the action figure, and it can do this.
Yeah,
you can. We're going to relaunch Ninja Turtles in corresponding with this new video game, and if you put this turtle on if you connect it to your, I don't even know how you do it. Like rub it against your PlayStation, you'll get it. You can play it in the game or something like that. Like, buy this device that plugs into that random USB-C port on your PlayStation 5.
Well, that's what the Skylanders had, a new pad for every game.
Yep.
A portal is what they were calling it.
And then so how's the Lego collection going?
The Lego collection. Oh.
Have you bought a tall neck yet?
Oh yeah, fuck yeah. I built a tall neck. I made my own tall neck before they existed, and then I built the tall neck. I bought the tall neck. I didn't build it. I mean, I'm sitting here staring up at the Sonic the Hedgehog and the Tron and the Doctor Who, still sealed. Just the boxes are sitting up here. The Atari, I built the first cartridge and never went beyond that. We didn't get past that. Yeah, we've got just an outrageous number and I keep buying new ones. And my wife, every time I walk in with one, my wife is like, now where are you going to put that? She's like, why are you building it? You're not, there's no place, you can't build it. There's no place to put it. She's right.
I don't know your wife, but I just say the same thing to her when she comes up with another plant. I don't know.
There's nothing to say to her. She doesn't buy stuff for herself. What she does is it's like food. It's, she'll buy food for the family. She'll buy clothes for the kids. She's not one to purchase things like that. And I've got 5 arcade 1-up games in this house at this point, which is just absurd. I finally got Tron, which, hell yeah.
You have to clean your office up or be very strategic on your picture taking and send some stuff out on social media.
Yeah. But
have the thumb covering up part of the webcam, like that, so you don't want to show like part of the camera, so you don't want to show the other side of the room or something.
Hey, I got Photoshop. But Tron, The Tempest, which is a 12-in-1, and Star Wars are right here next to me.
Wow.
And then upstairs is the sit-down Ms. Pac-Man.
She let you put one upstairs?
She's like, I don't know where you're going to put it. Here, just put it here. We had to take a chair over to Brooklyn. So she's like, just put it in that space. I'm like, really? Right there in the living room? She's like, yeah, whatever. She gave up with that one. And then she wanted me to sell Street Fighter 2. But then Zoe started playing it. And Zoe started dragging her into it. So the two of them play it all the time. So we put it up in the playroom because there was room for it.
Because Mom plays it.
Yeah, can't be sold. It if anything's gonna go, it will be that at some point. But otherwise, yeah, it's cool though. It's a great setup.
Awesome. All right. Stefan Wren asks, will the 76ers beat the Celtics?
I think they beat them tonight. They were beating them. Wait, let me take a quick check. if they beat them tonight, I think they will beat them in the series. Because all they have to do is win 1 out of 2 at that point, right?
Have you bought your James Harden jersey yet?
I have not.
Yes, they are up 3-2 in the series.
No, they won 115-103. Nice.
Yeah.
I think they will. I think they're going to have trouble with Miami, though. Jimmy Butler. Fuck. Why didn't the Sixers? I just wish the Sixers had held on to him. Oh, what they would be right now with him and Harden and Embiid and but yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I think they'll beat him.
Okay.
Was that it?
Is pretty much that's the questions. That's all we got. Yeah. The weather's starting to break. People are, maybe they're listening to us while they're cutting their grass now, or like painting their house or something like that. So, but yeah, we're about an hour and 20 minutes in. So, anything else that's on your mind, Josh? Or I know sometimes you randomly text us corrections. By the way, Michael has a different phone number now, so they go nowhere.
Oh shit.
You got to move into the Century and group Discord us. That's the best way.
Yeah.
But if I know you well enough, Discord's only on your PC.
It is. It is.
And it's only there for the once a year that we're using it for right now.
It is.
I messaged him the other day. I'm like, "Do you still have this and this?" And he's like, "I have one, maybe not the other. Hang on."
Yeah. Yeah. No Audacity on this computer.
Yeah.
That went away a long time ago. No, I don't think there's nothing I can think of. I'm sure when I'm listening to you guys, I'm always like yelling.
You have this device that you could just tweet at us.
Yeah. But yeah.
But then you open that app and you start looking at other stuff and you get angry.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, life is good, man.
A couple people commented they haven't seen you in a little while, so
yeah,
it's nice to hear you. I don't have the number in front of me of last time you were here, but you were with us. But it's been a minute. So
yeah, it has. But hey, just let me know. Just give me a week or two in advance, and I'm good to go.
If my store ever opens, it might be that week.
There you go, and that's just me and Michael.
Yeah, it was supposed to open like 2 weeks ago. But,
yeah.
All right. So obviously the spotlight is Josh today. So Josh was joining us, and he'll wearing his Atari shirt with funky symbols on it.
Yes.
Yep. So you can follow us on social media. The main account is at Digital Days Pod. Michael's account is at the First MJC. Hopefully we see some. I think he's in Disney. I think we see some Disney stuff from him. Myself is at Good Dave Hunt, and you can follow this one, but he doesn't really do anything with it anymore. It's at PJF Josh. He gets on there periodically. Yeah,
very rarely. I'm on Spoutable, but honestly, with that, I'm waiting for an app because I fucking hate using the website for any of these social media things. But that's a much better place. That is the epitome of Bill and Ted be excellent to each other. It literally is.
And I think, to be honest with you, I think there was Michael and I have talked about it. And if there was enough of a user base there that we thought we might see an ROI on it, we would probably do that. So
yeah,
but I'm not sure if that's it's a platform. It looks like it's a great platform for communicating and having intelligent conversations with individuals instead of groups.
And without having arguments and all that stuff. Yeah. Everybody there is cool right now. So yeah.
So yep, you can but I will say that I think Josh at least looks at Twitter once every 10 to 12 days. I do see him,
I skim through there, but
yeah.
I never
sure if you tag him at something, he might actually look at it though. So
oh yeah, absolutely. Because the thing is, I have never ever on any of these things gone with the algorithm. It's always who am I following and show me them in order, and that's what I do. Yeah. So if you haven't tweeted in a while, I'm probably not going to see anything from you. I'm just scrolling through, and I just, it is what it is.
Yeah. So Facebook group is linked in the show notes. Discord is linked in the show notes as well. I'll challenge anybody in the Discord. You can have a little bit of fun with this. If you can figure out how to tag Josh, have at it. and be confident that you're tagging him.
Yeah,
so
that'll be good.
So there's a little challenge for our avid Discord community. But thank you again, Josh, for filling in while Michael is gone. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Fun to catch up, and our Patreon.com is listed there as well, so you can check that out and check out those tiers and see if that's anything that interests you. Maybe we'll dangle Josh behind a paywall one day for some soap opera drama or something.
And get nobody paying for it.
Right. So, all right. I hope everyone has a great week. Keep moving forward.
Don't be a dick.
There you go. Look at you.
Bye.